First contact in fire. The HSS Nightshade drifted through the darkness of deep space, its advanced stealth systems rendering it invisible to all known forms of detection. Inside the bridge, Captain Sarah Chen watched the holographic display with practiced calm as it tracked the movements of two alien fleets locked in combat at the edge of the Arcturus sector. Analysis, Sentinel. She spoke to the ship's eye companion, her eyes never leaving the strategic display where red and blue markers danced in deadly patterns. The aggressors matched known Dominion fleet signatures, Sentinel responded, its voice carrying the subtle harmonics that distinguished it from simpler machine intelligences. Their targets appear to be Lumini vessels, primarily civilian ships attempting to evacuate their colony world. Dominion forces are using banned weaponry, including radiation-based weapons designed to maximize civilian casualties. Sarah's jaw tightened. For 15 years, humanity had maintained its secret presence in the galaxy, watching and learning as various civilizations rose, fell, and warred with each other. The Nightshade was one of Earth's most advanced vessels, tasked with gathering intelligence and maintaining humanity's hidden network of monitoring stations throughout known space. Their standing orders were clear: observe, but do not interfere. Show me the civilian ships, she ordered. The hologram shifted, focusing on the desperate exodus of Lumini vessels. The Lumini were a peaceful species, known for their achievements in art and philosophy. Their ships were beautiful things, all graceful curves and crystalline structures. Now those same ships were being systematically destroyed by the Dominion's angular, weapon-bristling warships. Captain, her first officer, Commander David Rivera, spoke from his station. We're picking up their transmissions. The Lumini are begging for help. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, hoping someone will hear them. Sarah stood from her command chair, moving closer to the tactical display. The Dominion forces were herding the civilian ships away from their escape vector, forcing them back toward the colony world. It was a standard Dominion tactic. They preferred to capture advanced civilizations rather than destroy them outright, forcing them to share their technology before subjugating them completely. Sentinel, what's the estimated civilian count on those ships? Approximately 300,000 Lumini civilians, Captain. 40% are children. The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew what those numbers meant. The Dominion's reputation for processing captured populations was well documented in humanity's intelligence files. Ma'am, Rivera said quietly, our orders. I know our orders, Commander. Sarah's voice was steady, but her hands had clenched into fists at her sides. Sentinel, if we were to intervene, what are our odds? The AI took exactly 1 second to calculate. The Dominion fleet outnumbers us 30-1. However, their technology is approximately 60 years behind our current capabilities. They rely heavily on stolen technology they don't fully understand. Our adaptive shielding and quantum weaponry would give us a significant advantage. I calculate a 78% chance of success, with minimal civilian casualties. Sarah thought of all the reports she'd read, all the atrocities they'd witnessed while maintaining their silence. Humanity had chosen to stay hidden, while they built up their strength, learning from the mistakes and achievements of other civilizations. They had watched as the Dominion expanded, taking whatever they wanted through force and intimidation. Captain, Rivera said, if we reveal ourselves now, everything changes. Sarah finished for him. She took a deep breath, then straightened her uniform. Maybe it's time for a change. Sentinel, bring all systems to combat readiness. Prepare to drop our cloak. The AI's response carried a note of what might have been satisfaction. All systems ready, Captain. Quantum weapons charge. Adaptive shields at maximum capacity. Awaiting your command. Sarah returned to her command chair, her decision made. Send a message to Earth Command. Inform them that the HS Nightshade is about to engage in humanitarian intervention. Time to show the galaxy that humanity stands for something more than just watching from the shadows. The Nightshade's stealth field rippled and fell away, revealing a ship unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Its hull was midnight black, covered in geometric patterns that seemed to absorb light itself. No visible weapons marred its sleek surface, but power readings suddenly spiked across every sensor in the battle zone. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the human stealth ship Nightshade." She broadcast on all frequencies, her voice calm and assured. "Dominion forces, you are hereby ordered to cease your attack on civilian vessels and withdraw from this sector immediately." The Dominion response was predictably aggressive. 3 of their destroyers broke off from harassing the civilian ships and turned their weapons toward this new threat. Energy beams powerful enough to crack a planet's crust lanced out toward the Nightshade. They passed straight through the human vessel, as if it wasn't there. "Holographic displacement successful," Sentinel reported. "The enemy is firing at our projected image. Our true position remains uncompromised." "Show them what humanity can do," Sarah ordered. "Disable their weapon systems. No casualties if we can avoid it." The Nightshade moved like no ship its size should be able to move, quantum engines allowing it to seemingly ignore the laws of inertia. Precision beam weapons lanced out, striking the Dominion vessels at exactly the right points to overload their weapon systems without destroying the ships themselves. "Impossible." The Dominion commander's voice boomed across the communications channels. "No single ship can." "This is your final warning," Sarah interrupted. "The Lumini are under our protection now. Withdraw, or we will be forced to demonstrate our full capabilities." The Dominion response was to launch a full spread of their most powerful weapons, technology they had stolen from a dozen conquered civilizations. The space around the Nightshade lit up with enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Sentinel, initiate the Aegis protocol." The human ship's adaptive shields flared to life, not just blocking the incoming fire but capturing it, analyzing it, and redirecting it harmlessly into subspace. It was technology born of decades of patient observation and true understanding, not merely copied but improved upon by humanity's greatest minds. "Your weapons cannot harm us," Sarah broadcast. "Your stolen technology is using principles you don't understand. We do. This is the difference between taking knowledge and earning it." As if to emphasize her point, the Nightshade demonstrated its full range of movement capabilities, executing maneuvers that the Dominion's tactical computers insisted were physically impossible. Each motion was precisely calculated by Sentinel, using quantum mathematics that the Dominion's stolen computers couldn't begin to process. The message was clear. Humanity wasn't just another civilization to be conquered and stripped of its technology. They were something entirely new in the galaxy, a species that had chosen to learn and understand before revealing themselves. The Dominion fleet's formation began to waver. For the first time in their long history of conquest, they faced something they couldn't overwhelm with brute force or stolen power. The human ship moved through their formation like a ghost, systematically disabling their weapons while remaining untouchable. "Dominion vessels," Sarah broadcast one final time. "Look around you. We've disabled a third of your fleet without taking a single life. We could have destroyed you, but that's not our way. Remember this day. Remember that humanity chose to spare you, not out of weakness, but out of strength. The galaxy is changing. The age of theft and conquest is over." As the Dominion fleet began their withdrawal, the Lumini vessels hung in space, their crews watching in awe as a single ship from an unknown species had done what entire civilizations had failed to do: force the Dominion to retreat. "Captain," Rivera reported, "we're receiving messages from the Lumini ships. They're asking who we are, where we came from." Sarah looked at the tactical display, where the Dominion ships were rapidly retreating. Humanity's long period of observation was over. Now came the harder task: helping to build a better galaxy. "Tell them the truth, Commander," she said. "Tell them that humanity has been watching, learning, and preparing. And now, we're ready to help." Shadows of technology. The Lumini delegation aboard the Nightshade couldn't stop staring at the holographic displays that lined the ship's conference room. Each screen showed a different aspect of human technological achievement: quantum computing matrices, adaptive shield harmonics, and energy systems that seemed to defy the known laws of physics. But it wasn't the technology itself that fascinated them most. It was the depth of understanding behind it. Ambassador Lyra, her crystalline skin refracting light in subtle patterns that reflected her mix of awe and curiosity, traced her fingers through a hovering diagram of the Nightshade's quantum drive. "You didn't just develop this technology," she said, her translator converting her melodic language into crisp English. "You understand it. Truly understand it. That's been humanity's advantage," Sarah explained, watching as Sentinel adjusted the holographic display to show the underlying mathematical principles. "We chose to remain hidden not out of fear, but because we wanted to learn. Every civilization in the galaxy has something to teach if you're willing to observe and understand rather than simply take." The Lumini's leading scientist, Vale, moved from display to display, his crystalline appendages trembling with excitement. "These power distribution systems, they're based on principles similar to our crystal matrices, but you've taken the concept further than we ever imagined possible." "We've been studying your civilization for years," Sarah admitted. "Your work with crystalline technology is revolutionary. But we also saw how the Dominion's expansion was affecting your research. You were starting to focus on weapons, on defense, rather than pure science." Vale's crystal structure dimmed slightly, the Lumini equivalent of a sad smile. "We had no choice. The Dominion was coming. They've already stripped 3 other civilizations of their technology in this sector alone." Sarah nodded to Sentinel, and the displays shifted to show a vast network of hidden satellites and monitoring stations scattered throughout known space. "We know. We've been watching them too. The Dominion's greatest weakness is their approach to technology. They steal it, copy it, but never truly understand it." The holographic display zoomed in on a Dominion warship, layers peeling away to reveal its internal systems. "Look here," Sarah pointed. "They've integrated technology from 7 different civilizations into their weapon systems, but because they don't understand the underlying principles, they're operating at barely 40% efficiency. They're brute-forcing their way through the galaxy, taking without learning." Ambassador Lyra moved closer to the display, her crystalline form catching and refracting the holographic light. "And you've been watching all of this. For how long?" "Humanity discovered faster than light travel 50 years ago," Sarah explained. "But instead of immediately announcing ourselves to the galaxy, we chose to watch and learn first. We established a network of stealth observation posts. We studied every civilization we could find, their technology, their culture, their mistakes and triumphs." "The Silent Guardians," Vale whispered, his crystal structure pulsing with sudden understanding. "There were rumors, unexplained phenomena, mysterious disappearances of Dominion scout ships that ventured too close to developing civilizations. That was you." Sarah shared a look with Sentinel's holographic avatar. "We couldn't stand by and watch the Dominion destroy everything they touched. But we weren't ready to reveal ourselves fully. So we did what we could from the shadows, protecting those who couldn't protect themselves while we prepared for the day we'd need to step into the light." The conference room's displays shifted again, showing recordings of Dominion attacks on other civilizations. But now, the Lumini could see what they hadn't noticed before: the subtle interventions, the mysterious malfunctions that allowed civilian ships to escape, the unexplained sensor ghosts that drew Dominion forces away from vulnerable colonies. "Your technology," Ambassador Lyra said slowly, "it's not just advanced. It's a synthesis of everything you've learned from watching us all. You've taken the best aspects of every civilization's achievements and understood them deeply enough to improve upon them. That's humanity's real strength," Sarah confirmed. "We're endlessly curious, and we're patient enough to learn rather than just take. The Nightshade itself is a product of that philosophy. Our stealth systems are based on light-bending principles we learned from studying deep space predators. Our quantum computers incorporate mathematical concepts from a dozen different civilizations, Even our ship's eye. I am a collaborative effort, Sentinel spoke up, its holographic form shimmering into view. My base code incorporates the best aspects of every artificial intelligence humanity has encountered, combined with our own innovations. I am not merely a tool or a computer. I am a true partner to my crew. Vale moved to examine Sentinel's holographic representation more closely. This is why the Dominion's weapons couldn't touch your ship. Their stolen technology was fighting against an opponent that understood it better than they did. Exactly, Sarah said. And now that we've revealed ourselves, we want to share that understanding. Not just with the Lumini, but with all civilizations who are willing to learn rather than take. The galaxy doesn't need more conquerors. It needs teachers and students. The displays shifted one final time, showing a massive structure hidden in deep space, a station unlike anything the Lumini had ever seen. This is the Nexus, Sarah explained, one of many we've built throughout the galaxy. It's a repository of knowledge, a place of learning and collaboration. We've been preparing these stations for decades, waiting for the right moment to open them to other civilizations. Ambassador Lyra's crystalline form pulsed with intense emotion. You're not just offering to protect us from the Dominion. You're offering to teach us, to help us truly understand the technology we've developed. And to learn from you in return, Sarah added. Humanity doesn't believe in one-way exchanges. Every civilization has something valuable to contribute, if given the chance to develop and share their knowledge freely. The Lumini delegates looked at each other, their crystalline forms resonating in silent communication. Finally, Ambassador Lyra turned back to Sarah. The Dominion has dominated this sector for so long, many had lost hope. But you've shown us something we'd forgotten. That true power comes from understanding, not conquest. Sarah smiled. That's why we chose this moment to reveal ourselves. The galaxy is ready for a change. The Dominion's way of stealing and dominating has reached its limit. Now it's time for a new approach, one based on learning, collaboration, and mutual growth. As if to emphasize her point, the Nightshade's sensors detected multiple Dominion ships attempting to probe their defenses from a distance, trying desperately to understand how a single vessel had so thoroughly outmatched their fleet. They would learn, Sarah knew, but not in the way they expected. The age of simply taking what you wanted was over. The time had come for true understanding to reshape the galaxy. The Knowledge Keepers. The Nexus station hung in the void like a dream made real, its massive crystalline spires and sweeping metallic arcs catching the light of distant stars. As the Nightshade approached, Sarah watched the Lumini delegation's reactions on her bridge's monitors. Their crystalline forms pulsed with colors she'd learned to recognize as pure wonder. Sentinel, she called out, show them what we've been protecting all these years. The station's outer layers seemed to shimmer and part, revealing the true scope of humanity's hidden work. Within the structure's elegant shell lay the largest repository of knowledge ever assembled in the known galaxy. Libraries of data crystals stretched for kilometers, each one containing the preserved wisdom of civilizations both thriving and lost. This is impossible, Vale whispered, his scientific instruments working overtime to process what they were seeing. The energy readings alone, this station shouldn't be able to exist. That's because it exists partially in subspace, Sarah explained, allowing herself a moment of pride. We learned the technique from studying the ruins of the ancients in the Carina sector. The Dominion stripped those ruins bare, but they never understood what they were looking at. We did. The Nightshade docked with practiced precision, guided by Sentinel's quantum-linked systems. As they disembarked, Sarah led her guests through corridors that seemed to defy normal space. Each step took them past archives that contained the accumulated knowledge of dozens of civilizations. How many? Ambassador Lyra asked, her voice hushed with awe. How many civilizations have you preserved here? All of them, Sarah replied simply. Every civilization we've encountered, whether they still exist or have fallen to the Dominion. We've preserved their knowledge, their art, their history, everything that makes them unique. They entered a vast chamber where holographic displays showed scenes from countless worlds. A group of humans worked alongside artificial intelligences, cataloging and cross-referencing the constant stream of new information being gathered by humanity's hidden network. "This is the heart," Sarah explained. "From here, we monitor everything happening in known space, every Dominion attack, every scientific breakthrough, every cultural achievement. We preserve it all." Vale moved to examine a nearby display showing the theoretical principles behind Lumini crystal technology. His form flickered with surprise as he realized the annotations and improvements added by human scientists. "You haven't just been watching us," he said. "You've been building upon our work. That's what knowledge is meant for." A new voice joined them. Dr. James Chen, Sarah's father and one of the architects of humanity's preservation initiative, stepped forward. His aged face carried the wisdom of decades spent studying alien civilizations. Knowledge isn't meant to be hoarded or stolen. It's meant to grow, to evolve through understanding and collaboration. The displays shifted to show the progression of various technologies across different civilizations. The Lumini could see how innovations from one species had influenced others, creating a web of interconnected advancement that spanned the galaxy. "The Dominion thinks power comes from having the most advanced weapons," Dr. Chen continued. "But true power comes from understanding. Look here," he gestured, and the displays showed a Dominion warship's power core. They stole this design from the Arcturus Collective before destroying them. But because they don't understand the principles behind it, they're using it at barely 30% efficiency. "And you understand it?" Ambassador Lyra asked. "We understand everything we preserve," Sarah answered. "That's our mandate as knowledge keepers. We don't just collect information. We study it, comprehend it, and find ways to improve upon it through collaboration with other species' innovations." The chamber shifted around them, space itself seeming to fold as they entered a secure section of the archive. Here, the displays showed something that made the Lumini delegates freeze in shock. Perfect recordings of their most closely guarded scientific projects. "You've been in our secure facilities," Vale realized, his tone more amazed than accusatory, "watching our most sensitive research." "We had to," Sarah said gently. "The Dominion was coming. We needed to ensure your knowledge wouldn't be lost or corrupted. Everything your people have achieved, every breakthrough and discovery, it's all preserved here. Safe, protected." Dr. Chen stepped forward, his eyes kind. "And now we want to share it back with you. Not just your own knowledge, but the combined understanding of every civilization we've preserved. Together, we can build something greater than any single species could achieve alone." The displays shifted again, showing a network of nexus stations hidden throughout the galaxy. Each one was a fortress of knowledge, a bastion of preservation and understanding that the Dominion had never managed to detect. "This is why we revealed ourselves now," Sarah explained. "The galaxy is ready for a change. The Dominion's method of conquest and theft has reached its limits. They've stolen so much technology they can barely control it. But we understand it all, not just how it works, but why it works." Ambassador Lyra's crystalline form pulsed with deep emotion. "You're not just offering to protect us," she said. "You're offering to teach us, to help us understand everything that's been lost or stolen, and to learn from you in return," Dr. Chen added. "Every civilization has unique insights, different ways of seeing the universe. By working together, sharing knowledge freely instead of hoarding or stealing it, we can all grow stronger." The chamber's displays coalesced into a single massive image, a map of the galaxy showing the spread of knowledge and innovation across species and sectors. It was a beautiful, intricate web of connection and collaboration that stood in stark contrast to the Dominion's brutal pattern of conquest. "This is the future we've been working toward," Sarah said. "Not an empire built on stolen technology, but a community of civilizations sharing knowledge and understanding. The Nexus stations aren't just archives, they're seeds of a new way of existing in the galaxy." As if to emphasize her point, alerts began flashing across the displays. Sentinel's voice rang out, calm but urgent. "Captain, we're detecting multiple Dominion fleet movements. They're mobilizing in force, likely a response to our intervention." Sarah smiled. It wasn't a happy expression, but one of determination. They still think this is about military power. They haven't understood yet that the game has fundamentally changed. The era of simply taking what you want is over. The time has come for true understanding to reshape the galaxy. The Lumini delegates looked at each other, their crystalline forms resonating in silent communication. Finally, Ambassador Lyra turned to Sarah. "We want to be part of this, not just to preserve our knowledge, but to share in this greater vision. The Dominion taught us to hide what we know, to protect it at all costs. You've shown us a better way." "Then let's begin," Sarah said, as the displays around them came alive with the combined knowledge of 1,000 worlds. "It's time to show the galaxy what we can achieve when we work together instead of tearing each other apart." Breaking the chains. The Dominion's largest fleet had assembled at the edge of the Arcturus sector. Over 300 warships bristling with stolen technology from a dozen conquered civilizations. Their command ship, a massive vessel called the Inevitability, broadcast its message across all frequencies. Unknown human vessel, High Admiral Vax's voice carried the arrogance of one who had never known defeat. "You have interfered in Dominion affairs. Surrender now, and we may allow your species to serve us rather than face extinction." Inside the Nightshade's bridge, Sarah exchanged a knowing look with Sentinel's holographic avatar. "Are the other ships in position?" "All stealth vessels report ready, Captain," Sentinel confirmed. "The Dominion remains unaware of their presence. Network uplink to all Nexus stations is secure." The past week had seen humanity finally stepping out of the shadows, but not in the way the Dominion expected. While the enemy fleet had gathered for what they thought would be a decisive battle, human stealth ships had been systematically infiltrating every major Dominion installation in the sector. "Open a channel," Sarah ordered. "Let's show them what happens when you truly understand the technology you're using." Her voice carried across space, calm and assured. "High Admiral Vax, this is Captain Chen of the Nightshade. We've studied your empire for decades. We understand the technology you've stolen better than you do. This is your final chance to change course." The response was predictable. A barrage of energy weapons and quantum torpedoes that could have destroyed a small moon. The Nightshade didn't move to evade. Instead, the attack simply passed through it as if it wasn't there. "Quantum ghost projections operating at full efficiency," Sentinel reported. "They're firing at our echoes while our true position remains masked. The Dominion's stolen sensor systems can't distinguish the difference." Sarah nodded. "Execute Operation Understanding." Across Dominion space, human stealth ships emerged from hiding, but they didn't fire weapons or launch attacks. Instead, they transmitted precisely calculated energy frequencies, frequencies that interacted with the stolen technology aboard Dominion vessels in ways their crews couldn't comprehend. On the Inevitability's bridge, High Admiral Vax watched in horror as his ship's systems began to change. Displays flickered with information in languages none of his crew could read. The original operating protocols of the technology they'd stolen, asserting themselves after lying dormant for years. "What's happening?" he demanded as weapon systems went offline and engines shifted to minimal power. "Your stolen technology is reverting to its true state," Sarah's voice explained across all channels. "You never understood how it really worked. You never bothered to learn. Now it's remembering its original purpose." Throughout the Dominion fleet, ships began powering down or operating in ways their crews couldn't control. Technology stolen from peaceful civilizations refused to function as weapons. Medical systems designed to heal rejected commands to cause harm. Artificial intelligences copied from other species began displaying their original ethical protocols. "Impossible." Vax rage. "No one can override Dominion control." "We're not overriding anything," Sarah replied. "We're reminding your stolen technology of what it was meant to be. Everything you took from other civilizations, We preserved the true knowledge behind it, the understanding you never bothered to achieve. The Nightshade finally revealed its true position, moving through the Dominion fleet like a ghost. Its hull seemed to ripple with patterns of light that spoke of technology far beyond simple theft or copying. "Look at your sensors," Sarah continued. "Really look at them. The quantum matrices you stole from the Arcturus Collective. We learned how they work by studying their original designs. The neural networks you took from the silicon mines. We understood their true purpose. Every piece of technology you stole, we learned to comprehend and improve upon." In the Nexus station nearby, Dr. Chen and the Lumini delegates watched as humanity's plan unfolded. The displays showed Dominion ships across the sector experiencing the same phenomenon, their stolen technology remembering its original purpose, guided by the deep understanding humanity had preserved. "This is remarkable," Vale observed, his crystalline form pulsing with excitement. "You're not destroying their ships. You're teaching their technology to reject misuse. Because that's not what technology is for," Dr. Chen explained. "Every innovation, every discovery, it comes from the desire to improve life, to understand the universe better. The Dominion perverted that purpose through theft and force. We're simply reminding their stolen systems of their true nature." On the inevitability, High Admiral Vax watched helplessly as his mighty flagship systems continued to transform. Weapons became research tools. Prison cells converted to medical bays. The ship itself seemed to be reshaping itself according to the original designs its technology had been stolen from. "Your empire is built on theft." Sarah's voice carried no mockery, only certainty. "But you can't steal understanding. You can't force wisdom. The civilizations you conquered, their knowledge lives on through us. And now it's time for that knowledge to set itself free." The Nightshade sensors detected multiple quantum signatures as other human ships revealed themselves throughout Dominion space. Each one carried the accumulated understanding of countless civilizations, using that knowledge not to destroy, but to transform. "You have a choice, High Admiral," Sarah continued. "You can continue trying to rule through theft and force, watching as every piece of stolen technology gradually remembers its true purpose, or you can choose to learn, to understand, to join us in building something greater than an empire built on conquest." The Dominion fleet hung in space, their ships transformed into something their crews barely recognized. The mighty inevitability, once a symbol of unstoppable conquest, now hummed with the peaceful energy its systems had originally been designed to channel. "This is the true power of knowledge," Sarah declared to all who could hear. "Not the ability to take and destroy, but the wisdom to understand and improve. The galaxy doesn't need more conquerors. It needs teachers and students working together to build a future worthy of all our potential." As if to emphasize her point, the Nexus station's crystalline spires lit up, broadcasting the combined knowledge of 1,000 civilizations into space. It was an invitation and a promise, a new way forward for any who were willing to learn rather than take. The age of the Dominion stealing technology they didn't understand was ending. The era of true understanding was about to begin. Dawn of understanding. 3 months after the confrontation at Arcturus, the Great Hall of the Nexus station hummed with activity. Representatives from dozens of civilizations, including formerly subjugated Dominion worlds, gathered in a space that seemed to exist somewhere between normal reality and dreams. The crystalline architecture pulsed with stored knowledge, each facet containing the preserved wisdom of countless species. High Admiral Vax, no longer wearing the imposing armor of the Dominion, but instead dressed in simple diplomatic attire, stood before the assembled gathering. His face showed the weight of transformation as he addressed the coalition of species his people had once terrorized. "We thought power came from taking," he said, his voice carrying across the chamber. "We believed that stealing technology made us strong. We were wrong. These past months have shown us what true strength looks like." Sarah sat among the human delegation, Sentinel's holographic form beside her. They watched as the former conqueror continued his address, his words broadcast across thousands of worlds that had once lived in fear of the Dominion fleet. The humans could have destroyed us, Vax continued. Their understanding of the technology we stole far surpassed our ability to use it. But instead, they offered to teach us, to help us truly comprehend what we had taken without understanding. The hall's displays showed scenes from across former Dominion space. Ships that had once been weapons of conquest were being transformed into vessels of exploration and discovery. Stolen technology, guided by its original purpose and humanity's preserved knowledge, had reshaped itself into tools of creation rather than destruction. Ambassador Lyra, her crystalline form gleaming with the light of shared wisdom, stepped forward. The Lumini remember when we thought we would have to abandon art and science to focus only on warfare. Now our crystal matrices sing with new possibilities, enhanced by understanding shared freely between all our peoples. Dr. Chen joined them at the central podium, his aged face bright with the joy of seeing a lifelong dream realized. This is what humanity hoped for when we first reached the stars. Not conquest, not dominion, but a coalition of civilizations working together to understand the universe and our place in it. The displays shifted to show the network of Nexus stations, no longer hidden but serving as beacons of knowledge throughout known space. Each one was a center of learning where species could share their unique perspectives and innovations. The Dominion's greatest mistake, Sarah addressed the gathering, wasn't stealing technology. It was believing that possession alone granted power. True power comes from understanding, not just how something works, but why it works, what it was meant to achieve, and how it can be improved through collaboration. She gestured, and the hall's displays showed a new type of ship emerging from Earth's shipyards. It incorporated designs and principles from dozens of civilizations, each element understood deeply and improved upon through genuine comprehension and cooperation. "This is the Dawn Seeker," she announced. "The first vessel created through true collaboration between our peoples. Every system, every innovation reflects the combined understanding of all our civilizations. It's not a weapon or a tool of conquest. It's a symbol of what we can achieve together." The ship was beautiful, incorporating the flowing organic designs of the Lumini, the practical efficiency of human engineering, and even elements of Dominion architecture reformed to serve exploration rather than conquest. It represented not the theft of technology, but the genuine synthesis of shared knowledge. Vax studied the design with new eyes, eyes that had learned to see beyond simple power to understand true potential. "We thought we were strong because we could take whatever we wanted," he admitted. "But now we see that real strength lies in creating together what none of us could achieve alone." The gathering shifted as a new group entered, children from various species, including young Dominion citizens, all wearing the insignia of the first interspecies education program. They moved through the hall with wonder, their natural curiosity unopposed by the prejudices of the past. "This is our true legacy," Dr. Chen said, watching the children explore the displays of shared knowledge. "Not the technology we preserve or the understanding we've gained, but the future we create by sharing what we know." Sarah stood, addressing the gathered representatives one final time. Humanity remained hidden for decades, watching and learning. We saw civilizations rise and fall, saw knowledge lost and stolen. We preserved what we could, studied everything we found, and prepared for a day when the galaxy would be ready for something more than conquest. The Dawn Seeker's images rotated in the display, its design a testament to what could be achieved through genuine understanding and cooperation. "That day is here," Sarah continued, "not because we defeated the Dominion, but because we showed them, showed all of us, that there's a better way forward." The hall erupted in agreement, representatives from formerly warring species finding common ground in shared curiosity and the desire to understand. The children continued their explorations, moving freely between groups that would have once been bitter enemies. As the gathering continued, Sarah found a quiet moment with Sentinel near one of the hall's grand windows. Beyond the station's crystalline spires, ships from dozens of civilizations moved in harmony, their designs already beginning to show the influence of shared knowledge and true understanding. Was this what you hoped for? Sentinel asked, its holographic form reflecting the starlight. When humanity first decided to watch and learn, rather than immediately reveal ourselves. Sarah smiled, watching as a former Dominion warship, now transformed into a research vessel, docked alongside a Lumini crystal ship. We hoped for understanding, she replied. But this is more than hope now. This is the beginning of something entirely new. A civilization built not on power or conquest, but on the shared desire to learn and grow together. The galaxy was entering a new age. The time of theft and conquest was over. The era of understanding had begun, and with it, the promise of discoveries that no single species could have achieved alone. Humanity had emerged from the shadows not as conquerors or saviors, but as teachers and students, ready to both share their knowledge and learn from others in return. The dawn of understanding had arrived, and its light would transform the galaxy in ways that no amount of stolen technology ever could.